Semen retention benefits that turn average men into leaders is a subject that shakes the very foundation of what most men believe about their own power and potential. We live in a time where men have been drained, not just of their physical essence, but also of their spiritual energy and psychological drive. If you are feeling weak, if you are feeling distracted, if you are feeling like you are not where you are supposed to be, then this is exactly why semen retention is the missing link in your journey toward becoming a true leader in life. And brother, before we go any further, make sure you join the Telegram channel, whose link is in the description. That is where we build a community of men who refuse to live average lives and are taking control of their destiny. Inside, you will understand that you are not alone in this transformation. You are backed by a brotherhood. Now let's talk about leadership. When people hear that word, they think it is only about politics, or about running companies, or about standing in front of crowds. But leadership begins with yourself. The truth is that most men cannot even lead themselves because they have become slaves to their urges. When you are a slave to your urges, how can you expect others to look at you as someone worth following? Semen retention breaks that slavery. It gives you the raw authority that people naturally recognize because you become a man who is in control. People instinctively trust men who are in control. When you practice semen retention, you are not just holding back a physical fluid. You are holding back the life force itself, the energy that creates worlds. When that energy is not wasted, it is recycled inside your body. It rises through your nervous system. It feeds your brain. It sharpens your eyes. Your words carry more weight. You stop being the man who talks too much without action. You become the man who only needs to speak once, and everyone listens because there is power behind your voice. You radiate authority without even trying. Think about the leaders who inspired people in history. They were not necessarily the tallest or the strongest or the richest, but they had an aura that made others pay attention. Semen retention builds that aura. Your body begins to vibrate on a different frequency. Women feel it without you saying a word. Men sense it and either respect you or envy you. But nobody ignores you. That is what leadership is about. The ability to influence reality just by your presence. Another benefit that transforms average men into leaders is focus. The average man today cannot sit with one task for more than a few minutes before he reaches for his phone or gets lost in daydreams. But when you retain your seed, your brain chemistry changes. You are no longer a distracted boy. You are a focused warrior. Leaders are defined by their ability to see clearly when everyone else is confused. You can cut through the noise. You can look at a problem and immediately see solutions because your mind is sharper, more disciplined, and more resilient. Do not forget the physical benefits. When you retain your energy, your testosterone levels stabilize, your posture improves. Your eyes gain clarity, your handshake is firm, your body language becomes commanding without effort. These small physical cues matter. People do not listen to words alone. They respond to energy and presence. Semen retention builds a presence that is impossible to fake. It is in your walk, in your silence, in your gaze. It is what makes others naturally defer to you in situations where decisions need to be made. Leadership also requires emotional stability. This is another area where semen retention gives men an edge. Average man is easily shaken. He reacts too quickly to insults. He gets frustrated at small setbacks. He is controlled by his mood. A leader cannot be swayed like that. A leader must be a rock. Semen retention makes you that rock. You feel anger, but you control it. You feel desire, but you channel it. You feel fear, but you do not bow to it. When people see that level of emotional control, they instinctively trust your leadership. Most men in the modern world are drained by lust. They spend hours watching explicit content. They chase women. They lose sleep over meaningless pursuits. Then they wonder why they cannot achieve greatness. It's the man who practices semen retention flips the script. He stops chasing and instead becomes the one who is chased. This is critical for leadership. Leaders do not beg. Leaders attract. Leaders do not run after validation. They command respect. Semen retention gives you this shift automatically. You become the man who does not need to seek approval because your energy speaks for itself. When it comes to productivity, semen retention again separates leaders from the average man. Your energy levels are not wasted on shallow pleasures. You wake up with drive. You sleep less but achieve more. You can put in hours of focused work without burnout because your nervous system is fueled by the very essence of life. This productivity compounds over time. The average man can only push for 1 or 2 days before collapsing. You can keep going for weeks, months, years. You steadily build yourself until you become unstoppable. This is how great leaders are formed. Not overnight, but through years of consistent energy and discipline. Another leadership benefit of semen retention is vision. When your mind is clouded by lust, you cannot think beyond the next hour. When you master retention, your thinking expands. You begin to see years into the future. You can plan, you can anticipate, you can imagine a reality that others cannot see yet. That vision is what makes people follow you. Leaders are the ones who can see the destination before anyone else does. Semen retention clears your mental sky and gives you the clarity to create visions that inspire others. Confidence is another major transformation. Semen retention removes insecurity. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself through meaningless conquests. You no longer feel inferior in the presence of powerful people. You know your power does not depend on anyone else. Your confidence is internal and unshakable. This type of confidence is rare and magnetic. It is the reason why people will follow you even when you have nothing material to offer. They can sense that you are rooted in something deeper than external validation. Leadership is not about being loud or aggressive. It is about being grounded and decisive. Semen retention makes you grounded because you are not floating in a haze of wasted energy and guilt. You are present here and now. You are decisive because your mind is not split between desires and distractions. You can make tough calls quickly without hesitation. Decisiveness is what separates men who talk about leadership from men who embody it. Semen retention teaches discipline at the highest level. If you can control the strongest biological urge inside you, then what else can you not control? Your diet, your sleep, your business, your relationships. Everything becomes easier to master because the hardest battle has already been won. This is why average men who adopt semen retention rise to leadership positions quickly. Discipline is the foundation of influence and authority. Imagine walking into a room full of men, some of them successful, some of them confident. But when you walk in, they can feel something different. They cannot explain it, but they know you are not like the rest. This is the aura of a man on semen retention. This is why average men become leaders when they practice it. Leadership is not about titles or positions. It's about energy and perception. Semen retention transforms both. You will also notice that people begin to seek your advice without you asking for it. They begin to follow your lead without you demanding it. You radiate strength and clarity. In a world where confusion is the norm, people are desperate for direction. When you are on retention, you naturally provide that direction, not by force, but by presence. This is real leadership, not manipulation, not domination. Inspiration through your own example. Semen retention strengthens your spiritual core. You realize that your energy is sacred. You stop wasting it and start channeling it into higher pursuits. When you walk with that kind of spiritual alignment, people sense it. They see you as someone with purpose, someone who cannot be easily corrupted, someone who lives by principles. That is the kind of man who becomes a leader not because he asks for power, but because power naturally gravitates to him. In relationships, semen retention changes the dynamic completely. Then, instead of being the man who begs for attention, you are the man who commands respect. You no longer settle for toxic connections. You no longer lose yourself in lust. You demand quality in your interactions. This makes you a leader even in your personal life, because you set the standard and others rise to meet it. Instead of lowering yourself to please them, you elevate the energy of those around you. All of this combined shows you that semen retention is not just a practice for health or discipline. It is a practice that forges leaders. Leadership is energy. Leadership is control. Leadership is vision and confidence and presence. Semen retention develops all of these traits in ways that nothing else can. This is why average men who once felt invisible suddenly become the ones who stand out, the ones who are remembered, the ones who are followed. So if you are tired of living as an average man, if you are tired of being overlooked, ignored, and forgotten, then semen retention is your path forward. It will give you the power, focus, an aura of leadership that will separate you from the crowd. But remember, this is not just about holding back. It is about transmuting that energy into purpose, into discipline, into vision. When you do that, there is no limit to how high you can rise. And with that, I want to remind you that if you found value in this message and you want to support the growth of this channel, make sure you use the thanks button at the end. Every contribution is important, no matter how small. It helps keep this movement alive and spreading to more men who need it. Your support means everything, because together, we are building leaders, not followers. We are creating a generation of men who refuse to be average and who choose to rise into their true power.